Yesterday, where he opened up about his decision to not get vaccinated, despite the Nets telling him he can no longer participate as a part-time member of the team. Take a listen.
But I'm staying grounded in what I believe in. It's just as simple as that. It's not about being anti-vax or about being, on one side or the other. Like, it's just really about being true to what feels good for me. I'm still uncertain about a lot of things, and that's okay. If I'm going to be demonized for having more questions and taking my time to make a decision with my life, then that's just what it is. That's something I got to sit in. I know the consequences of the decisions I make with my life. I'm not here to sugarcoat any of that.
All right, we're now joined by First Things First co-host Chris Broussard. Chris, your reaction to this?
Wow. Well, first of all, I agree with Kyrie in that little clip. He shouldn't be demonized. And I don't really think he has. But, I've got a family member who's anti-vax, friends who are anti-vax, and I still respect them, love them, respect their intelligence, even as I disagree with them. And it's the same with Kyrie. He has a right to do what he wants to do, but none of us are in a vacuum. And there are consequences to your actions. So Kyrie has to understand that. As far as the video as a whole, look, it was good to see Kyrie talk and not have anonymous sources speaking for him so we could hear from him. But I got to be honest, I think he spoke for about 25 minutes and said a whole lot of nothing. It was very convoluted. He was bouncing from persona to persona, in my estimation, from sometimes a savior. He was coming off like a savior, sometimes a victim, sometimes a martyr, sometimes a chastiser of the media. And so it was hard to follow what in the world he was saying. I think two points of clarity that he did make. One, he doesn't feel comfortable personally taking the vaccine. And that's why he's not vaccinated. Now, he didn't give us any reasoning. Religious reasons, scientific reasons, cultural reasons. He gave us none of that in 25 minutes. He just said he wasn't comfortable taking the vaccine, and that's his right. But to say, I think for him to say he's not anti-vax is either you're confused or it's disingenuous. I get it. He doesn't dislike people who get the vaccination, but for him, he's anti-vax. Why else would you walk away from your teammates who are counting on you to help them win a championship? Why would you walk away from the game that you said you've loved since the 4th grade? Why would you walk away from the organization that's giving you $136 million and is going to pay you $17 million this year to do nothing, to watch the games on TV like the rest of us? And so you got to be anti-vax if you're going against all of that. And I don't think, this voice for the voiceless stuff, I'm not disparaging Kyrie. We know he's got a good heart. Yes. Whether we agree with him or not, we know he's got a good heart. But don't tell me you're the voice for the voiceless and for those who lost their jobs because of the vaccine mandate. Those that lost their jobs aren't still being paid. You're being paid $18 million to not work. So you're not their voice. And so just stop saying that. The second thing is that I think this was maybe the most important thing. He said he's not retiring from basketball. And that's great because, one, we all love watching Kyrie play. He loves the game, so it's good that he gets to do what he loves. But 3, the Nets can now have a better chance to trade him. And they need to be on the phone seeing what the market value is. Hey, did you see the IG Live? He ain't retiring, so let's talk. What you offering me, So, I mean, they got to start moving in that direction and seeing what the market is for him. Look, they can start the season with him away and not trade him. They don't have to rush into it and see what they look like without him. I wouldn't give him away, but see what you can get for him and maybe move on. But overall, those are my general feelings, guys. It was a lot to make out of what he said.
Well, Chris, I believe in Skip and we touched on this earlier. I just believe Kyrie's backed himself into a corner. And he says he's doing what's best for him. Even though I disagree with it, that's his right. but it's also what's best for you, and your right and your freedoms also may have consequences. And the consequences of what you're choosing not to do, and the consequence is what they chose to do. They says, okay, we don't want you to be a part-time NBA player. And so what we did, we huddled up, for the lack of a better word. We talked to our two big guns, and they felt for them to make this decision. Chris, James Harden and KD says, guys, we got to move on. We cannot have a guy that's half in and that's half out. And I don't want to be in a situation that at some point in time, KD and James Harden going to say, look, guys, can we talk about the guys that's here? Can we deal with what we have? We wish Kyrie the best. Kyrie is still our friends. But championships trump friendships. When you're in a professional sport in a team setting, championships trump friendships. And that seems to me the path that these two guys have taken. Skip, Chris, he's a walking contradiction. He says, it's not about the money. And then in the next line he says, do you think I want to lose all that money? Well, damn, if it's not about the money, why you care if you lose it? So I didn't get with that. The NBA, the NBAPA will not let the NBA set a mandate because the NBA wanted to set a vaccine mandate. Everybody they said, no, we're not going to do that. The city of New York has the mandate. And they said, in order for you to go into Barclays, if you got to be vaccinated. That's it. And so you choose this. That's your right, Kyrie. You have a right to not to take the vaccine. Absolutely. But you have to understand the Nets have an obligation to do what's in the best interest of their team, not just in the best interest of an individual. And I think this started early last year when Kyrie uttered, we do not need a coach. Steve Nash like, something wrong with this, something wrong with him. And then when you leave, Chris, you leave and you do not tell your employer that you're stepping away for whatever the reasons may be. Maybe it's a family emergency. Maybe it's a medical emergency. Maybe there's something that you're dealing with that you just need some time away. But you mean to tell me you can't be professional enough to tell them that? They got to ask, like, where's Kyrie? Well, Kyrie was supposed to be in the lineup. What's going on with Kyrie? And you leave people to answer questions for you? Nah, it's like, you know what? The vaccine mandate on top of all this unpredictability, Nets, I think the Nets said they've seen enough.
They have heard enough. So in the end, I sat back last night and I thought what I just heard Kyrie Irving say made even less sense than when he said the earth is flat. It was classic both sides of mouth. As Shannon said, conflicting statements to the point it became irrational and illogical and ultimately wrong-headed and just flat out kooky. It's like, what? Huh? I cannot compute. It makes no sense to me, to the point that if Kyrie had given us a classic conspiracy theory about the vaccine, as Shannon calls it, the third eye theory. It will give you a third eye. If you want to go there, I'm good with it.
Right.
I'm actually good with anywhere you want to go because it is America and Kyrie has high IQ. Sometimes it's not connected to maturity, and sometimes it just goes over the edge into irrational projections and conclusions. And I fear that's where he's headed because, to Chris's point, you're not anti-vaccine. You're obviously
100% anti-vaccine.
Like 1,000%. Yeah. And that's fine. I got it. But you're saying that all you care about is using your powerful platform and your powerful mind to support, to lend a voice to the voiceless, those people who have lost their jobs because of a vaccine mandate in their workplace. And so I needed Kyrie to go one more step with me. Help me out here, Kai. You're supporting the people who are saying, I won't get vaccinated. I want to go to work every day, and I want to threaten the health and the very lives of my coworkers. Right. And I want to threaten the very product that pays me my salary. That's what I kept telling Shannon. All I care about right here is winning. We're trying to win together. We're trying to put on the best show we can put on.
Right.
And if we have to work with unvaccinated coworkers, there's some threat there that could derail us in our product.
Right.
And clearly, all the NBA is saying is we lost billions of dollars in the pandemic, and we don't want to lose another cent. And all the brightest medical people in this world we live in are saying the best way to fight back is with a vaccine.